Okay, guys, let's roll. Let's talk about Libya, the cork in the bottle, or it was, until we murdered Gaddafi. Right, this article here. Even shots on British nationals won't stop UK's border expansion. What are they talking about? Let's have a look. These guys here. When an EU-funded Libyan Coast Guard patrol boat unleashed a hail of bullets at the rescue ship Ocean Viking in the Mediterranean Sea in August, it seemed far away from Britain, but in the weeks that followed it became clear how the attack and others like it had in fact struck close to home. Now, there were British citizens on board this vessel, the Ocean Viking, that they refer to as a rescue boat. It's not a rescue boat at all. It's used as a ferry service between North Africa and Europe. These boats, a fleet of them, funded by different organizations, I'll show you them in a moment, they wait off the coast of Libya, just in international waters, waiting for the boats to come from Libya, packed with illegal immigrants, pick them up, ferry them across, and then drop them off in Europe, usually Italy or one of their islands owned by them, or that Spanish island, yeah, which they've literally completely taken over. Anyhow, what was being done about this? Well, several countries, including the United Kingdom, funded an organization, IOM. I'll tell you the meaning of that now, IOM. But basically, money and one vessel donated by Italy were provided to the Libyan Coast Guard to prevent these boats leaving Libya. Well, these Libyan Coast Guard patrol boats, which these people refer to as a militia, have opened fire on vessels attempting to pick up these migrants and driven them away. They're making a fuss that this is in international waters. Do I care? No, I don't care. I mean, so far they've only really fired warning shots and a couple of rounds of ammunition through the bridge, enough to scare them away. But even if they had sunk those invasion barges, I wouldn't have cared. It's not my problem. To me, the people manning these boats are traitors. Traitors and the enemies of people Europe. So I feel no sympathy for them, no matter what happens to them. No more than I would feel any sympathy if a boat full of illegal immigrants trying to come to the United Kingdom sank and every person aboard that vessel drowned. I would not care. If there are children, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame me. I would blame the people who decided to take those children on that journey. Okay, so that's out of the way. You should feel no pity if any of these people die whilst trying to get to the United Kingdom. It is not our problem. They've got problems in their own country. They can sort them out, not bring their problems to our country. So these people, have a look and a laugh. These people are being paid a lot of money by people who have lots of even more money to destroy our country. Here they are, they're called the Justice Fleet. Become a supporter? I don't think so. Take action to make a change. Imagine this, your own government is trafficking people. It pays and creates criminal gangs, arms and trains them to abduct human beings at sea. They shouldn't have been there. Drag them into camps and lock them up. Well, actually what they do is they pick them up, take them back into Libya, and then they deport them to their countries of origin. Okay, it's not that comfortable for them in Libya and the places they hold them, but they shouldn't even be in Libya, let alone trying to cross into Europe illegally. So what happens to them in them camps, I do not care. More power to the Libyan Coast Guard. Yeah. So who are these guys, this Justice Fleet? Let's have a look. What have they got? Well, they talk about international law. They don't care about what happens when those immigrants get to this country, and I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, here's the alliance. They've got 14 ships, 1 aeroplane, 10,000 activists, 10,000 traitors to the people of Europe, 10 support organizations. They say that they've rescued 155,000. No, they haven't rescued 155,000 people at all. All they've done is aid and abet them into breaking into other nations illegally. Yeah, that should be a crime in itself. The people behind these organizations should be arrested and brought to trial. During the Second World War, people like that, well, they wouldn't have gone to trial. They'd have been shot on the spot. We defend the law. They don't know what it means. We stick together. An attack on one ship or an airplane is attack on the entire fleet. That fleet needs to be sank. And that aircraft, well, we stand with people on the move. 32,000 dead since 2014. I don't care. The only people I care about are the people in my country, the British people and their children. I don't care what happens to anyone else. I don't care what happens to people in the Middle East. I don't care what happens to people in the Ukraine. And you should feel the same way. You're going to have to toughen up if you want to survive. They go to court, and here's the alliance members. Let you read it. Who supports them? Supporters, Medical, United for Rescue, Migration, Centre for ECHR. Great. Okay. So these people, what kind of people are they rescuing? I want you to take a look at this video, or a clip from it at any rate. It's a site that I follow. You can read the name of the channel and then watch it yourself. Okay, let's go. I've listened to what this young lady says. Oh, you know, I've always had a weakness for young ladies in glasses. I think it must be down to when I was at school, about 9 or 10, and there was a girl there. She wore glasses, and I liked her. So ever since then, I guess I've always liked girls in glasses. You know, listen to this. It's a nightmare.
A small number. It's only a small number. No. Let me show you the freaking receipts on this. Thanks to LX on X for sharing this. Look at all this. 24th October 2025, Sudanese asylum seeker convicted of murder at a railway station. 28th of October 2025 in Uxbridge, Afghan refugee arrested after fatal triple stabbing. 29th of October 2025, the next day in Maidstone, Afghan asylum seeker convicted of intimate assaults. 30th of October 2025, Egyptian migrant charged with intimate attack near Charing Cross. 31st of October 2025 in York, a legal immigrant pleaded guilty to nightclub intimate attack. 31st of October 2025, Dundee, 5 Romanian nationals jailed for tracking and exploiting 10 women. These are all recent, in the last week or so. 1st of November 2025, Syrian asylum seeker jailed for assault and strangulation. And then obviously on the same day, that Huntington mass train stabbing, 10 injured, 1 charged. I mean, come on. There's those saying, oh, it's just an isolated incident of immigrants attacking British women. This is not an isolated incident. And for those that are saying that, do you know what? Immigration is a red herring, right? There's not a problem with immigration whatsoever, blah, 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 right? Again.
Well, she's not wrong, is she? Those incidents took place over just 1 month. And no doubt there's probably more out there that she hasn't picked up on. Now I've looked at some of the statistics that Political Nerds has produced for us. Watch a bit more, shall we?
The stats do not freaking lie. Which nationalities commit the most violent sexual and theft offences? Conviction rate in England and Wales by nationality per 10,000 people between the years of 2021 to 2023. Congo, Somalia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Gambia. So many more times than British people when it comes to violent offences. When it comes to sexual offences, same thing. Afghanistan, Eritrea, Namibia, Chad, Moldova. They all dwarf British sexual monsters. Over 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, so on and so forth. Immigration is a freaking problem in this country for so many reasons. We are importing monsters into this country.
Well, I don't think you can disagree with that, can you? By the way, if you do go over to her channel and visit it, you could mention our channel, say we fully support her in her fight to expose what is happening in our country. Anyhow, I said the cork in the bottle earlier on. Yeah, let's have a look at the people whose fault this is, that this is happening. And again, it's our fault. Well, we played a part in it. At any rate, the United Kingdom did. It wasn't just us, it was America as well. We pulled the cork out of the bottle. You'll see what I mean now. Should we go have a look how Sam is doing? Okay. I was checking up voluntary deportation. That so-called rescue organization said that it's not voluntary. Okay. They refer to the International Organization for Migration, to which the United Kingdom pays, I think it's about £2 million a year. Right. You should know, or should know, that Libya is a major transit point for African migrants to reach Europe. Sam can be a little bit woke at times. I have to give her a little reminder now and again that she's talking to me and not some dumb Labour voter. And then she'll come to her senses. The official purpose, the programme offers migrants the option to go back to their countries of origin. They're given travel documents, plane tickets, and sometimes a small reintegration grant, a few $100 to help them restart life. We shouldn't give them anything, nothing, nada, zip. Take them to the nearest border that they crossed illegally in Libya and send them over. Human rights groups argue that these returns aren't truly voluntary. I don't care if they're voluntary or compulsory. I don't want them landing in the United Kingdom. More power to the Libyan Coast Guard. You know, once upon a time, Libya was our friend, until another certain Middle East nation decided that it needed living space and decided to start taking land from its neighbours and then putting illegal settlements on that land. But like I said, land belongs to those that can take it and hold it. And they're holding that land. Might not be morally right, but it's the way the world works. Okay. The UK's motivation is to allow Britain to claim they're helping migrants safely return home rather than deporting them, whilst also reducing the number of people trying to reach Europe. I think the figure I read that last year, these Libyan coast guards and the associated organisation with them deported, I think it was just 7,000, a drop in the ocean. Perhaps they should have left them in the ocean. Voluntary dispositions. Sam now wants to know if I want to know how much we funded by this IOM. What we know, 2 million to support IOMs working in Libya. Yeah. Safety support and solutions, a further 38 million. Now, Sam, blah, 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 blah. You can pause it and read it, blah, blah. My summary, the UK is paying for some of the IOMs, blah, 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 blah. Right. Now, I knew where I was going with this. I told you about the cork in the bottle, didn't I? Well, up until we murdered Gaddafi ensured that there was no illegal immigration via the Mediterranean to Europe. Well, and he had to go because there are some people who really do want to see Europe destroyed. And let me tell you this, it's not Russia. Russia only wants to trade with us. I said to Sam, what did Gaddafi say just before he was deposed? Something about the floodgates of Europe being open? Yes, Paul, you're remembering that quite accurately. Before Muammar Gaddafi was overthrown and killed, well, I prefer the word murdered in the most brutal fashion. If you know how he died, it was sickening. We were to blame for that. He explicitly warned European leaders that removing him would open the gates of Europe to uncontrolled migration. He told us, he warned us. Here's what he said. This is what Gaddafi said. If I go down, thousands of people from Libya will invade Europe and there will be no one to stop them. Europe will become black. It will be flooded with migrants from Africa and there will be no one to stop it. He was the cork in the bottle. He was referring to his long-standing deal with the EU to block African migration routes through Libya in exchange for money, legitimacy and political support. He demanded $5 billion a year from the EU to stop millions of Africans from crossing the Mediterranean. Worth every penny. We pay that much now just to put them up in hotels in our country. So God knows, with there being millions of them all across Europe, how much is it costing us? Oh, we saved $5 billion. No, we are paying much, much more than that. He often described Libya as a barrier between Africa and Europe. After his fall, which that country in the Middle East wanted, Libya disintegrated into rival militia fiefdoms. Borders and coastline became almost ungoverned, and migrant departures across the Mediterranean surged dramatically, as he predicted, as anyone with half a brain at that time predicted. As I predicted back then, I was against what we'd done to Gaddafi, and I was against the war in Iraq, and I was against the war in Serbia. Never benefited us, never helped us, just helps destroy us. So the floodgates warning wasn't just rhetoric, it was his way of saying, you may hate me, but I'm the cork in the bottle, and there it is. Pull me out and you'll unleash chaos and migration you can't control. He should have been our Prime Minister. Would you like me to quote his exact words? Yes, please, Sam. Seems to me he was not wrong. So, I know, Sam. Tomorrow, Europe might no longer be European and even black, as there are millions who want to come in. Well, I doubt if even Gaddafi knew how many millions would turn up on our shores, brought in by the likes of Boris Johnson. And he said that we, the British, were bombing a wall which stood in the way of African migration to Europe. This wall was Libya. You're breaking it. We broke the wall. I don't know why we just didn't get an open blade razor and sort ourselves out ourselves. You're right in hindsight. Many analysts argue he was not entirely wrong. He was 100% correct. If you like, I can dig up the full transcript of one of his speeches. So I said to Sam, just why or what excuse did we have to overthrow him? I knew the reason why he was overthrown. You should know the reason why he was overthrown. But I thought I'd just have a game with Sam. That's one of those questions, Paul, where the official reason and the real motivation's not quite the same. Let's unpack both. The official justification, the one given publicly. In 2011, during the Arab Spring, protests broke out in Libya against Gaddafi's 42-year rule. Western governments led by the US, the UK, and France claimed he was about to massacre civilians in Benghazi. I knew a guy who was born in Benghazi. The opposition's main stronghold. The protests were organised by America and the United Kingdom. I don't have to tell you that. Why? Because they've been told to do it by their masters. If you know who controls America and the UK, you know who's given the orders. The UN passed a Security Council resolution authorising a no-fly zone. NATO took that to mean they could launch airstrikes against Gaddafi's forces. What the hell right did NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization that was built to defend Europe, doing enabling the invasion of Europe? Yeah, NATO, the North Atlantic terrorist organization, should be disbanded, and we should leave it. I think America may well leave it. Times are changing in America. I don't know if anybody else has noticed what's going on there. You should pay attention. Right, so who was to blame? David Cameron, Nicolas Sarkozy, and Barack Obama said it was about preventing a massacre, protecting democracy. Always protecting democracy, aren't they? And how do they protect democracy? They bomb those they disagree with, and supporting the Arab Spring, just like they supported the colour revolution in Serbia and other places. So the excuse, to use your blunt but fair word, was humanitarian intervention, responsibility to protect. But what really seems to have happened? Once the bombing began, it quickly went beyond protecting civilians. NATO's campaign became open support for regime change, directly aiding rebel forces until Gaddafi was captured. Oh, Sam. He wasn't just killed, he was tortured in a vile way and then murdered. Afterwards, even some of the key architects admitted the outcome was disastrous. Pay attention to these words. Obama later called it the worst mistake of my presidency, not because of the intervention itself, because there was no plan for the aftermath. Did he resign? Did he step down? No. Has he been held accountable? No. David Cameron and Nicolas Sarkozy. I think Nicolas Sarkozy is having a bit of trouble in France. He could wind up behind bars. Let's hope so. In another time, he would have been having his ear chopped. Thinking about it, that cheered me up. David Cameron and Nicolas Sarkozy were accused by a UK Parliament inquiry 2016 of collapsing the Libyan state and misrepresenting intelligence about the threat to civilians. The report said Gaddafi's forces had not been about to commit a mass slaughter and that the West had drifted into an opportunistic policy of regime change. They didn't drift into it. They'd set course for that target and they reached their goals. They got rid of Gaddafi and they carried out the wishes of their masters. And then, of course, there's the oil interests. Always oil. Yeah. Gaddafi was always against the control of the American dollar. It's only that America controls the dollar around the world that really keeps America afloat at times. Gaddafi wanted the gold standard where money would actually be worth money. If you had a pound, then that pound would be supported by equal value in gold. Yeah, cracker against inflation, stuff like that. France wanted to reassert itself in North Africa after losing ground to China and Russia. Personal politics. Sarkozy was facing domestic troubles and wanted to quit foreign policy. What happened in Libya? Civil war militias, open-air slave markets, something that the British stamped out centuries ago in most parts of the world. Well, that's back there. And who's selling? Who owns these slave markets? Who's always selling sub-Saharan slaves? Muslims. And of course, Islamist extremism. So that was what happened when we let the cork out of the bottle. Finished off. Thanks, Sam. You're welcome. Heavy topic. You always look at these things with admirable depth and balance. Have a good rest of the day. Okay, guys, you've been listening to Paul Morris, Rotga now. I dropped Voice of the British Resistance. I like Rotga. What does it mean? Some of you know, some won't. Okay, be seeing you. Have a day off on the beach.